Alright, welcome back to the fourth and final part. Let's take a look at the last 11 blue cards. So first we have Serpent, another familiar reprint. Pretty decent, I would say, nothing exciting and limited, but a fine 6-drop. Does decent blocking duty and can later in like the super late game safely kill the opponent if you have properly stabilized. Next we have Lynx. This one is a pretty nice tempo 3-drop in limited, doing quite some work offensively and defensively, but overall I think is better offensively because of the temporary advantage and tempo swing that proactive decks take more advantage of than using it defensively to not fall too behind. Then we have Metropolis Sprite. This one seems okay-ish, like it was never particularly great, but basically being a flying body and potentially being like a 2-power flyer for 2 seems reasonable, even though you have to invest the mana every time to do so. So it's not great, but it seems fine as a 2-drop if you need some more stuff to get in the, for example. Then we have Mode Piranhas. This is a new one and pretty impressive one, I think. 2 costs 3/3 is pretty great. Sure, it has Defender, but in the right deck that only matters so much. And 2 costs 3/3 shuts off almost all like non-evasive 2-drops, trades or shuts off with all 3-drops, and even still trades with a fair share of 4-drops. So this seems like a great defensive tool for any like blue deck in limited. Then we have Negate, not much to say, usually not main deck worthy, good sideboard card, sometimes a one-off, can be fine main deck. And then we have Octal Prophet, which is kind of a cool name. In a world where we don't see that many like 4 toughness units, especially 4 toughness units that have a lot of power in limited, and everything is built around this like 3/2 for 3 angle, and even like the 4-drops tend to be 3/3 or 4/3. The fact that Hill Giants aren't that great anymore, at least for trade purposes, doesn't matter that much, so this still kind of trades as well as say the 4/3s for 4. And then getting Scry 2 is a nice bonus and fairly impactful, especially at that stage in the game where you know better like how much land you still really want, or if you want land at all, and what you're looking for. So I say the Scry 2 on a 4-drop is more valuable than on an early drop, like a 2-drop for example. In some regards, obviously in other regards, if you're missing land, the Scry on a Scry 2 on a 2-drop is much better. But a fair share of the time you just will play the 2-drop and don't know that well yet what you want to try for compared to on turn 4. So this seems like a very solid common 4-drop, or maybe a more late gamey and more defensive deck, because it's obviously not that great of a proactive unit creature. Then we have Sage's Row Denizen back in the mix. Seems like this could be an interesting alternative like mill strategy in limited, trying to pick up a bunch of these, be heavy blue and just kind of try and stall and mill out the opponent. That could be its own archetype, at least as a fringe one, maybe even more than that. And other than that, like it's a 3 cost, 2/3, nothing great. If your deck is not built around this, this is probably not something you want in your deck unless you really have to. Then we have Sleep Paralysis. Last time we saw this, it had Flash in Guilds of Ravnica. This one doesn't, but it's still a decent removal in blue for a color that doesn't really have much removal options. And speaking of mono blue, Unsummon is back. That seems pretty interesting in constructed, honestly. Like mono blue definitely loves this card to be around. It doesn't seem that great right now, like we don't have that many creatures, a fair share of them have good enters the battlefield effects and or are fairly small because we have so many planeswalkers, which is probably part of why the card is coming back, because for quite some time the card was kind of considered too good for modern Magic and wasn't standard legal that much in recent years, but I can see how it's less of a powerful card in the current format, but it might still be particularly nice in the context of a deck like Mono Blue. So that's the constructed part. And in limited, I mean, it's efficient, it's less good on average, I would say, because yeah, it's card disadvantage, it's a tempo play. Your deck needs to be able to take enough advantage of the tempo and utility this card provides, but especially the first copy seems like a pretty easy addition in most decks, and even multiple copies can be good in the right deck. Then we have Winged Words, basically divination with upside. It's your typical divination, except it costs 1 less if you have a creature with flying. And, well, if this costs 2, it's pretty powerful, so it's even in constructed this seems interesting because it's basically better than Charter Course. Both kind of require a creature, but for example, unlike Charter Course, you can go like turn 3, play a 1-cost 1/1 flyer, and then play this to draw 2 cards. With Charter Course you couldn't, you would just draw 2, discard 1. So another card that seems interesting for Mono Blue and possibly better than the bunch of Charter Courses, like 1 to 3 Charter Courses that the deck has been running in the past, because this seems a bit better at doing the card advantage job. Charter Course, especially because more often than not, if you get to trigger Charter Course, you also have a creature that reduces the cost of this. There aren't that many non-flyers in the Mono Blue deck anymore, since we got Terramanda and our unblockable 1-drop got upgraded into a flyer, and now we got another flyer, which means there will probably be no Merfolk 1/1 unblockable guys in the deck at all, and the deck will probably have like, I don't know, 10 1-drop flyers, and then this is pretty easy to support with all the other stuff. Once again, not sure if Mono Blue can cut it these days, but it sure is getting a bunch of nice new tools that might make it a contender again. And in limited, I mean, divination is fine. Divination that sometimes costs 2 seems pretty good, so this seems like a pretty nice card in your average blue deck, especially with a bunch of common flyers in blue. And last but not least, we have, or well, kind of least, we have Zephyr Charge. 2-cost enchantment for 2 mana. You can give a creature flying until end of turn, so yeah, pretty bad. Draft Chaff really can like rarely sneak its way into a deck of a bunch of green ground guys to like fly through, but probably more of a fringe sideboard card at the very best, and pretty bad and inefficient overall. Alright, and this concludes all the blue cards for M20. As usual, let me know in the comments what you think of the cards, of my assessment, and so on, and also of the format that I'm doing this in. Always happy to get constructive criticism and feedback from you guys on how to improve the content. And yeah, that's it again for this time. Before you leave, please hit the like button if you enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification icon to not miss out on future content, and of course, share it with your friends, and so on. And if you want to further support me and my content, make sure to check the description for Patreon and other ways to support the content. Or you can simply just turn off your ad block or whitelist YouTube on your ad block if you haven't yet. That's a great way to support content creators like me and others for free, just checking out the ads while watching content that already does quite a bunch for us. Alright, thanks for watching everyone. I'm your host ManuS, and I'll see you tomorrow with the black cards. Bye!